to you if you want to watch it again later. And we're recording it also for people who maybe weren't able to attend tonight. Okay, so let's get into it. First, some of you may not be familiar with our organization, so I'll give you a brief overview of what we do. Yes is a community-driven charitable organization. For nearly 30 years, we've been driving positive change across Quebec by providing essential English language, career, and business support in Quebec to job seekers, entrepreneurs, and artists. We help job seekers navigate their career journeys, guide entrepreneurs as they start and grow their businesses, and support artists in turning their passion into sustainable careers. Through personalized coaching, services, and valuable resources, we break down barriers, empower individuals to reach their full potential, and contribute to Quebec's vibrant community and economy. We have 3 core programs. We have employment, so if you're looking for a job, entrepreneurship for people starting businesses, and finally the artists program, which is the program that I work for. The artists program's goal is to help creative professionals, established or emerging, develop entrepreneurial skills, strategies, and tools to build sustainable and economically viable careers. We have services that are open to the public. We have regular workshops, which I'll tell you about in a moment. We also have special events like our yearly artist conference, which took place in April, as well as What the Pop, which usually takes place at the end of the summer, if funding allows. And then we also have membership coaching. So if you pay a $30 fee for the year, then you have access to one-on-one coaching or one-on-one meetings with the legal or accounting clinic. We also have a book. So if you are more, if you're more one to get your information from reading, this book covers a lot of the things that we talk about in our workshops. It's called Business Skills for Creative Souls, and it's available on Amazon as well as at our front desk. Okay, I'm going to tell you about a few workshops that are coming up that may be of interest, and then I'll shift gears to today's topic. So we have a workshop called Jumpstart Your Art and Financing Options, which is kind of our our catch-all workshop that covers different aspects of being a professional artist. It's a recurring workshop. The next one is on June 15th, 1:30 to 3:30. Then we have Demystifying Business Registration for Artists. So this is a workshop that covers questions around business registration, incorporation, and tax numbers. This is also a recurring workshop, and this one is taking place June 25th at 2 p.m. Another one that I think is of interest is Practical Tools for Neurodiverse Entrepreneurs. That one is taking place on June 18th from 12 to 1. So this is only a sample of the many, many workshops that we have at Yes. You can find out all about them by going to our website and clicking on the calendar tab, and then you'll have the list of all the upcoming workshops, and you can sign up to the ones that interest you. You can also follow us on social media to be aware of anything, any events that we have coming up. And finally, we have What the Pop, which many of you are aware of. Call for submissions are currently open, and the deadline to apply is June 7th. So June 7th, that's Sunday, this coming Sunday, and you need to apply by 11:59 p.m. for your application to be received and to be considered. Okay, so that's in a few days. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to the heart of today's workshop. We're going to talk about common mistakes and and things to consider when making applications in general. Then we may have a short break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about our upcoming project or our upcoming opportunity, which is What the Pop. So anything that's like really specific to What the Pop, I would ask you to save your questions for that section when we talk about that later. Okay, so I would love to actually get to know a few of the people who are here. I'll start by telling you a bit about me because I haven't really introduced myself. So as I mentioned, my name is Carolyn. I am an artist business coach here at Yes, and I have been for the past 5 years. And my own artistic journey was in theater, film, and music. So I've been a performing artist since I was very young, and I've written and produced shows, and I continue to do so when time permits. And I also studied business, so that's how I ended up here at Yes, working with artists and trying to impart business tools and skills. I would love to, feel free to use the chat maybe to tell us what type of art you produce and also what your experience has been with applications in general. And also I'd be happy to get a few people to share out loud. So you can use the hand raise function. Or if you can't find the hand raise function, you can also just unmute yourself and jump in. So who would like to tell us about your experience so far with applying to opportunities? Liana?
Hello. So I actually have no experience with applications or anything because I've always just been an artist that like mainly did it like as a hobby, but I would like to learn how to maybe potentially turn it into something more. And I have genuinely no idea where to start. I'm mainly a visual artist, but I also dabble in writing. I've been a performing artist also for a long time. I've been trained as a dancer initially, and everything else is just out of love for the art. But yeah, I would just like to know more about the business aspects of things.
Awesome. Feel free to put your socials in the chat. I mean, all of you, in case you might meet someone in the workshop tonight who does something similar to you or something that interests you. So please feel free to share if you like. Thank you for breaking the ice. Felix?
Yes, hello. My name. Yeah, I'm playing music. I've been doing screen printing too, and sculpture, using fabric also. So, but I'm in an academic. I'm now using going to university and try to make music my main career. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Cherie?
So I make keychains mostly, and my previous experience has been when I was in school, I would occasionally sell things to people, or in terms of applying, the one and only real event I was part of was the West Island Black Community Association had a pop-up market on the 9th of May, and so I applied to be a vendor for that, and I did that. Turnout could have been better, but there were mitigating factors for that. But like that was my only real experience at all with anything. So
cool. Yeah. Well, congrats on having your first experience.
Thank you.
Oh, that's cool.
But I definitely need to know and would like to know a better way of marketing myself, and in terms of, how do I figure out price points? Do I need to start doing things like getting into the e-transfer thing? Is cash better? Is cash something people don't really do? So all of that good stuff is sort of where I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you right away that in an ideal world, if you are doing markets, you should probably invest in some kind of a payment method, like a Square or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, but thank you. Thanks for joining. Hillary?
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat, I think, to Liana, where I also am like really new at the business aspect of things. So I'm a multidisciplinary creator as well. I do visual art too, but I also got into jewelry making, which I think is what kind of is pulling me to trying testing the waters of markets. But I guess I oscillate between a lot of things, and I'm not quite sure which direction to put my energy into in terms of applying. So maybe getting an idea of how focused, like how advantageous it is to have a focused discipline versus one that is, multifaceted. And I think I'm also wondering, maybe hoping that how much social media, how important it really is in terms of like promoting ourselves as well, because it's so much different than it was like the 10 years ago, when I think a lot of the material that I have read about entrepreneurship is now no longer necessarily valid, especially with things like AI just continuing to clog up the that space. So I'm curious to know where we stand on that and everything else.
Yeah. Thank you, Hillary. Yeah, and I agree with you. Social media has changed tremendously. Completely different landscape. Thank you for sharing. Zoe?
Oui, bonjour.
Bonjour.
En fait, je dirais que ce qui, like, what makes me more current? Oh,
Tu peux dire en français si tu veux.
OK. Ben, je suis artiste visuelle et médiatrice culturelle, entre autres pour la ville et l'Université de Montréal. Puis dernièrement, j'essaie d'appliquer à différentes opportunités. Puis on dirait que, bon, avec un background en histoire de l'art, there's a right way to do things. There's a right way to present your footnotes at the end of a research project. And then for Artist Call, I feel like maybe that's what's keeping me from applying to certain opportunities, just because like when they ask for a dossier d'artiste, I'm like, what is it supposed to look like? Is this what looks like a professional dossier, or does it look amateur? Just because I don't know what it's supposed to look like, and it's like, I don't know, hard to find, and I don't want to also fall into that AI trap, and
I would say and I'll say this right away. It's almost there. It's not standard. So the way you've been trained to present yourself in an academic context, which is very strict and which is very coded, the art applications are not. They're going to look very different depending on who's sending the application, and it's not standardized. So if that can reassure you, generally speaking, if you read what they're asking and you follow the instructions, you're probably fine. But we'll get a little more into that.
and
Mhm.
intimidating.
I
don't know
know,
if
I
it
know.
scares
And
me
sometimes
most
it's
or
not, sometimes it's a bad call also in the sense that sometimes the they're not expressing themselves well. You know, they're putting a call out, but they're not being clear at all in terms of what they expect as a presentation, which is not your fault. But then you have to just do what you think looks good, because they're not being specific. But oftentimes there will be some clearer instructions, hopefully. But thanks for bringing that up. That's a very good point. Joanne?
Hi, I'm a retired translator, morphed into a textile artisan. So I make various accessories, totes, trousse, towels, purses, various things from new material that I've gathered in Asia, India, the Caribbean, Africa, as well as from upcycled material. I'm not sure that this is the right place for me, but I thought that any information about presenting, you know, would be helpful in some way at some point in time.
Mhm.
That's me.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm just looking at the chat. We have a few people who introduced themselves there too. I'm noticing that Raïs only speaks French, que tu parles seulement français. Je pense qu'il y a une façon de mettre des sous-titres traduits. Si tu vas dans langue et voix, je pense qu'il y a moyen d'afficher des sous-titres. Donc, j'espère que ça peut aider. Aussi, s'il y en a qui préfèrent s'exprimer en français ou poser des questions en français, comme vous voyez, je comprends très bien le français. Denise, yeah, is a literature artist. Shreyashi, who's Sreyoshi, I always mix up your pronunciation, sorry. Started applications this year. Wonderful. Yeah, she's working with me in animations and textile. Aman, I think is your first name. Visual arts, mainly painting, drawings, and acrylics. Lyudmila, photographer. Thank you for sharing your link. Ori is an illustrator and comic artist. Oh yeah, I see as a answered Rice in the chat. Thank you very much. Kessen is doing painting and drawing and digital art and printmaking. Very cool. So I may not be able to read everything that you guys have contributed, but I love that you're contributing to the chat, and I encourage you to continue to post your links there in case you guys want to get in touch with each other. Okay. Oh yeah. So Susannelia is asking how you can see the discussion. So if you look at the your window may not look the same as mine, but when I look at my window, up at the top, I have a series of icons, and one of them is a chat box. It's a little bubble. And if you click on that, then you should be able to see the chat pop up. It might look different if you're on your phone. Then I'm not sure exactly where the icons are, but normally you should find an icon that's a little speech bubble and click on it and see the chat. So thank you very much for introducing yourselves. It also gives me a good idea of the needs and sort of the questions that are present within the group. I will try to provide you with useful information, but it's also, of course, we can't answer all the questions or all your needs in this one meeting. I think hopefully we'll get through a lot of it. Atelier Hunter.
Hi, everybody. Bonsoir. My name is Max. I'm a pyrography artist. deep in the Manawan forest, about 4 hours north of Joliette. I'm a high school teacher in a First Nation community, so we're pretty isolated. So I think I have missed a lot of these art opportunities in general, just because I'm oftentimes, I visit Montreal and Quebec often, but I'm outside of this hub of artistic creativity. So I'm trying to plunge back into there and meet a bunch of like-minded individuals and artists and promote the whole sustainability aspect of wood and wood burning and the natural world. So thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Amazing. Very cool. Please drop your links in the chat if you haven't done so.
For sure. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who's from somewhere else than Montreal here? Or Montreal suburbs? Hillary? Felix?
Sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Oh, okay. Okay, Felix is in Sherbrooke. Oh, Gabrielle is in Toronto. That's even farther. But definitely if this can be a good opportunity to, okay, Bronwyn is in Quebec City. Yeah, sometimes it's good to just know where people are from. I expect that a lot of the people here, of course, are from the Montreal area, but it's always nice to have some people coming in from other regions. Okay. So, I'll start with some general ideas around applications, and then hopefully I can also give you a few tips. So I would say some common mistakes around applications are not being eligible. So applying to something and not being eligible for it for whatever reason. Not following instructions happens more often than you would think. Poor feasibility. So sometimes it's presenting a project or an idea, but it's not very clear how you're going to make it happen. So the level of confidence of the reader is low in your ability to execute. Sometimes miscommunicating your ideas or intentions, or poor documentation or support material. And we'll get into that a little bit later. So the first thing about eligibility is make sure to read. I mean, I'm going to repeat this a lot, but make sure to read the words, in the guidelines. Read the organization's mission, and read anything that they put about this particular opportunity. As I mentioned, some calls will not be as helpful, or they're not going to be well worded, and sometimes it's not your fault, but definitely make every effort you can to be relevant and to be applying to things that are relevant to you. So, just some things to look out for. For example, if you're, again, don't apply to Conseil des Arts de Montréal if you don't live in Montreal. There's a residency requirement, right? So some types of programs are really location specific. Make sure that your medium is also in the correct, is accepted by them or is within their mission. Maybe you're applying to an artist center that only does, I don't know, experimental digital work, and you're a painter. You don't fit. So some people have an approach of like applying to everything all the time, everywhere. That is not ideal. Usually you really want to try to be specific and make sure you're applying to things that are specific to you. Sometimes there will be age restrictions, so some opportunities are going to be for specific age groups. Sometimes they'll, something like a program like Jeunes Volontaires or Young Volunteers is going to have specific requirements around employment, whether you're employed full-time or whether you're a full-time student. If you are applying on the behalf of an organization, like a for-profit or a nonprofit, make sure, again, that it's clear that you're applying to a program that is for that specific type of organization. And that's going to be even more important than when you're applying as an individual. Those rules are going to be very specific if you're applying to SODEC or something like that. So this is from like What the Pop 2026, just as an example. These are the types of things that we are asking you to check. So you have to be 18 years and older. You have to live and work in Quebec, be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, have participated in fewer than 5 markets, exhibitions, or performances in Quebec. You're required to participate in all our training sessions for the event and be available for the assigned dates. So this is an example of our guidelines. I'm going to tell you, we spend a lot of time writing and rewriting our guidelines for clarity, but not everyone does that. So not everyone is there thinking, oh gosh, people keep getting confused when reading our guidelines, we're going to fix them. Sometimes they don't fix them and they remain unclear. In the case where guidelines are really unclear, your best option is probably to be a little bit early in your submission, and possibly if there's any kind of contact information, write to them and double check whatever is unclear about the call. That's probably your best bet. Hopefully they answer. The earlier the better. If you ask your question on the deadline, it's very likely that people are not going to be available to answer you. But if you're, 2 weeks ahead of the deadline and you send in a question, there's a good chance that they're going to answer you and give you the missing info. It's important that your application, of course, be relevant. So try to understand the context and goal of the call out and frame or adjust your application as necessary. Tailor each of your applications to each call out. So don't send out the same application to every call out. You will probably be rejected because it's probably not going to be relevant to that call. Now it's easier than ever to be relevant because we have, tools like AI, so you can even run, have it review your application alongside the call and make sure that you're answering it correctly or that everything is relevant. And you can also just take the time to read it. Not following instructions is a common mistake. So examples like not respecting the word limit, not labeling documentation properly, not sending the right type of info, or submitting in a different format. This can cause problems. Sometimes, for example, they'll ask for a specific format, let's say the size of the upload, right? They'll ask for an upload no bigger than this amount of space. And they have a reason for requiring that. It's probably because otherwise it won't load, or because there's almost always some kind of reason behind it. So do try to respect their limit. Also, if they say they want a certain amount of support material, it's not a good idea to go way over what they ask for, because that means that they won't have time to look at all of it. And they might be even very strict. They might say, we ask for 5 images. If you send 20, they may outright just reject it. So really try to respect what they're asking you for, even though it is a little bit more trouble. Poor feasibility can be another reason. So will my project work given the time and budgetary constraints? Is it realistic? So you really want to be convincing. You want whatever proposal you're making, you want them to be left with no doubt about your ability to execute it. Here's a few definitions, things that you might see while filling out applications. There might be things like technical requirements. So that describes what you need to install your work, including both what you need from the other party and what you're going to be providing. So sometimes people, I, for example, had an artist who would get who got really intimidated by seeing technical requirements on an application, and she was doing paintings. And it was for a call for I forget which one it was, but you know, to a call for proposals to fill a gallery space. And she says, "Oh gosh, what do they mean, technical requirements? I don't know what technical, you know, I don't." But in her case, the requirements were only like she only needed hanging, like a hanging apparatus. You know, that's all she needed. She had paintings, they needed to be hung. That's all she needed. There was no technical requirements for what she was doing. So she was sort of keeping herself from applying for fear that she was missing something. But no, like there's no, it's not like she was supposed to have something more technical than she did. But some artwork is technical. Some artwork requires installation, requires electronics, electricity, a certain setup, space. There are forms of art that are highly technical, but if that's not the case with you, then just say that, right? Then a budget is an estimate and breakdown of income and expenditure for a specific project or period. This doesn't apply to What the Pop, but in other types of, you know, for example, if you're answering certain calls for proposals, they might ask for a detailed budget of what your, you know, what your costs are going to be, and sometimes what you ask for as a compensation. Sometimes, right, another common mistake is to miscommunicate ideas or intentions. So submitting incomplete work, not including a timeline of how you're going to finish it, for example. So we don't really know, is this incomplete? Is it complete? What is it? Sometimes artist statements are vague. Readers don't understand what you do or what your art does. Here's a few more definitions of things that might show up in a call. They might ask for things like a bio, a statement, a project description, and a CV. Oh, some of this is, ignore that last paragraph. This was from last year. Anyway, an artist bio is a short paragraph about you, your artistic accomplishments and career achievements. A statement is like slightly different. It's a paragraph about your art, not about you. An artist statement will help your viewers, listeners, and admirers understand your art, your artistic vision, and ideas in a deeper way. Then your project description describes a specific work or body of work or series. And an artistic CV is an overview of professional artistic history and achievements. This needs to be updated regularly. So yeah, as mentioned, an artist bio is a narrative summary of your most significant achievements listed in your CV. It can include some personal details like where you were born and where you're based now, and can include some pertinent sentences from your artist statement. It's generally written in the third person. So these are common mistakes, but honestly, first or third person, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it's just important to understand, like, it's not a CV and a bio are not exactly the same. A bio needs to contain details about the artist. It needs to be short and focused, and ideally it should be, you know, you should proofread it and make sure there's no mistakes in it. Oh, this is a fun little exercise. Here's what I would call a bad artist bio. And I'm going to quiz you on this. I'm going to ask you what is not good about this bio, or what is good about it. I have been creating art since I was a child. I have not stopped since. Art is a way of life. I see art and beauty all around me. I work in multiple mediums. Everything has the potential to be art and to transform. I am passionate about the everyday and take influence from my environment and surroundings. I seek to find the essence of what it means to be human, to have love and loss, and to unite people through beauty. I am passionate about soccer and studied math and science in school. Okay, who would like to tell me what is wrong with this bio? Max?
Yeah, for sure. It's unclear what the art is. We still don't know what actually is the medium or what someone would be purchasing at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Anything else? Cherie?
It's just vague. Everything is vague. Like, okay, you started when you were a child. Do we have an age? Do we know how old you are now? I mean, that may be relevant. It might not, but we don't know because it's not there.
Yeah.
The
We
first
really
thing
don't.
that-
We
the first
really
thing
don't
that-
know anything, do we?
Yeah, exactly. The first thing I noticed was just so vague. There's no definitive anything. We don't know
Yeah.
what the art is. We don't know what you do. We don't know how long you've been doing it. We don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
It's like there's a lot of words, but none of them tell us
but none
anything.
of them mean anything. Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Felix?
Yes, I also think it's a bit weird, but I like the beginning because it's kind of poetic, but it's not. It doesn't have a lead all through the text. So, and also there are errors, but I know
Mhm.
some people mentioned it in the chat. So, yeah, that's about it for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Felix. Yeah, I'll also go into the chat and just see what sentences are too short, repeating the word beauty, misspellings. Last sentence is not relevant. I agree. The math and soccer. Oh, whoops. A few typos, irrelevant information, too vague. Right. And yeah, what they're saying is true of most artists and not specific to them. So that's one of my pet peeves is when you say things like, I care about beauty and the meaning of things. Well, I mean, that's art, right? That's not, you can just skip that part. Any other comments before I move on? I think you guys have pretty much covered everything. So another tip is if you don't have enough experience for a complete bio, that's okay. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you learn to make art? What were some of your main influences? Where are you in your journey? You can talk about your purpose. Don't make anything up. You also don't have to write something long, keep it short. But just tell us, be honest about where you are. Sometimes people also have had another life before, like maybe they were working, had a whole career as a doctor, and then they decided one day, you know what, I don't want to be a doctor. I really love printmaking, and that's what I want to do with my life now. So, I mean, that can also be part of the story that you tell. That's okay. So another little quote is it's easy to feel insecure about your resume and bio. Seeing your efforts as a few lines of black and white text can be deflating. Remember that is just a document someone will scan after they have reviewed your far more important tools, your work samples, descriptions, and artist statement. So it's part of an ensemble of different pieces of information that you're providing. An artist statement is separate from the bio. It answers questions that your audience will have about your work because no artwork is so straightforward that it doesn't require some explanation or description. Your artist statement is about communicating to your audience. It tells them the why behind your art. So what might be contained in your artist statement is kind of the how, the what, and the why. The how is where you talk about your process and materials. The what is a general description of your work and its contents. And the why is really, I mean, it's why you do what you do, right? Like, why is this important to you? Why do you pursue this type of art? So again, just making a distinction between bio and statement. A bio is about the artist. It's usually in the third person. You update it when you have new achievements. It includes biographical information. A statement is about the art. That's the main difference. The bio is about the artist, the statement's about the art. It can be written in the first person or the third person. I mean, these things are not always so important, but just conventionally. You update it when your artwork changes, when something changes in your art practice. It includes themes, context, and description and mediums. There's a couple of raised hands. Max, is that, did you mean to raise your hand?
No,
Okay.
sorry about that. Sorry, it was
Okay,
a
no
mistake.
problem. Julia?
Yes, hi. So my question might be stupid, but does it have to be in the order, like the statement, the what, how, and why?
No, no, I
can
don't think so.
mix that-
Sorry, it cut a little bit.
I can mix it up, like let's say in one paragraph, I will say about what and why, and then it be
Mhm.
fluid. It's
Yeah.
okay, right? Okay.
Yeah. I think these are just prompts to help you know what to cover, what to include, but it's not a particular order. Thank you for your question. Documentation is also important. You want to make sure it's not, you're not dealing with images that are too big, too small, a video that's too long or too short. You want the quality of the image to be, or the video or the audio to be decent. Yeah, I think documentation it is one of the most important things. You do want the quality, you want the thing that you're presenting to be quite visible so that we can appreciate it properly. Yeah, definitely this is one of the best things you can do for yourself. I'm going to talk about just different types of applications. I know that you guys are all from different mediums, different types of art, so you might be dealing with completely different application types. I'm going to try to be general about it, and then maybe at the end I'll also give you a few places where you might find applications. So I'll divide it into these different categories. So the proposal, the call for submissions, grant application, or residency. A proposal is a plan that you are putting forward for a project that has not yet been completed. So for example, if your municipality is doing a call for proposals to decorate the I don't know, post office. They're like, we want a proposal for what you're going to do to redesign our post office or decorate our post office. That's something that you have to give them your idea. You have to give them your plan, but it's something that doesn't yet exist. Call for submissions is something like our What the Pop. It is a context where an organization or institution asks people to submit original work. Usually in this case, it's completed work. So you'll show work that already exists and you will submit it for their consideration. Although sometimes it could be also something that is not yet in existence. So I'm just thinking about, again, sometimes a gallery will ask for a concept for a solo show, right? And then in that case, you would have to do a little bit of like speculation, right? A little bit of a proposal type. Then you have grant applications. So that's a process for requesting financial support from an institution for a specific project which has not yet been completed. And finally, a residency is an invitation for artists to reside in a space to create, do research, learn, or contribute to a community. So this is what, for example, a proposal call for project might look like. This is just a random one that we grabbed from the internet. The Bâtiment 7 is opening new spaces, call for projects. But let's see. The feature of the offer spaces in our current, so they give like the size of the space, what they're looking for, and then they ask for projects that will fit this space, right? So they're asking for people to come up with ideas. And then and then they put the selection criteria. So this is really clearly a call for proposals. Often these will come from community spaces or municipalities. Those are kind of the most common types of calls for proposals. Calls for submissions. So again, what the POP is an example of a call for submissions. Grant application. So a grant application might be something like, Canada Council for the Arts, but it could be also like a grant through a university, or there's many different kinds of grants out there. Sometimes they're through private foundations as well. There's a tool here that you might be interested in that's organized by our partner ELAN, English Language Arts Network, and it's called Quebec Relations. So it's actually a website where you can go and you can search for grants. So if you've never looked for a grant before, if that's something you're interested in, I would recommend looking up that website, ELAN Quebec Relations, and just maybe this can be your first introduction to looking for grants that might be suited to you. Call for residency. So this is an example just to show you what this might look like. So they're offering a space, they're offering a specific opportunity. In this case, they're also offering research fees, and they are requesting a CV and text of artistic approach, a selection of images of the artist's work or work in progress, descriptive list of images, and they put the deadline. So this is, I think, pretty clear. They're being very clear about what they need in order to judge your application. It's simple, but it's clear. A few bonus tips. Start early and take your time. As I mentioned, if you have questions or if you run into any problems, it's a lot easier to deal with that if you're ahead of the deadline than if you're like on the deadline. Understand the role of the jury or who's going to be evaluating your work. Call the agent or point person so you can develop a relationship with whoever it is who's running the program you're applying to. Try to get feedback, pitch it to different people. Ask people to proofread your application if you can. Also, every time you do an application, it's also a form of practice. It's practicing putting, getting organized, getting all your documents together, doing your documentation, explaining your practice. Continue applying. The better, the more you do it, the better your applications will get. Make sure to save your work and screenshots just in case something happens, there's a problem with the application portal or whatever. Make sure you have proof that you submitted on time. Things like that can be very helpful. Do not submit faulty links. Sometimes people will submit a link and then by the time the jury actually looks at it, the link is no longer valid. Do not link to a website when support documents are requested. Look at past examples of successful applicants. Attend workshops and keep learning, or see an artist business coach, I guess. Okay, before I get into what the POP, I do want to mention a few places where you might be able to find information. So bear with me. I'm going to open. Okay, so I mentioned our partner organization, English Language Art Network. They have a great website. And if you go into, let's see, where is it? Opportunities, you'll find all kinds of things. One of them is call for submissions. And here you'll have these orders. So you'll have, non-discipline specific, and then they'll be in order of discipline. So dance, film and TV, music and sound, performing arts, theater, visual arts, and literary. So this is a great place. If you've never looked for opportunities for your art, to present your art, this is a very good place to start. Really practical website. If you're a visual artist, you might also look at RAB's website. They also have calls for applications. Let's see.
Caroline, I'm sorry to interrupt. I
Yeah.
feel like what I hear is that your sound is a little bit glitching. I'm not sure if that's
Is it still glitching?
yes, it is. For me, it's glitching. I don't know if
Oh yeah. Yeah, the others are saying the same.
Yeah, for me too.
Okay, still?
yes.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Is it still glitching? Yeah. I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay. Okay, meanwhile, maybe to answer one of the questions by Kassem, if it's very hard to come up with a description about your artwork, you can use Notebook LM, which is a free tool by Google. If you already have a Gmail, you can just log in, click on Notebook LM, upload your photos or images or the PDF, and ask for a description. It's very confidential. It's only yours. So you have total confidentiality. Sorry, Caroline, I used the opportunity to talk about Notebook
Of course.
LM.
That's great. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. Did you want to add to what you were saying, Azzy?
No, all good. I added the link and I add one sentences more in the chat.
Great. Okay, so now you can hear me? Great. Okay, so I'll just go back to the window that I was sharing. So yeah, for those who don't know, this is the Regroupement des Artistes en Arts Visuels. They also have calls for submissions, but this is really specific to visual arts. So you can learn more here. There's a number of different websites that you can go to. I would say if you're looking for, some of you might know my friend Frankie. Let's see. So if you're into markets, this is a small organization or network that creates opportunities. So you might see like calls for artists, summer market, just different things like that. And it can be a really nice way, especially if you haven't participated in a market before, to look for opportunities to apply to. So that's a good place, also a good resource to know about if you're looking at markets. If you are a musician and you're just starting out and you're looking for ways to maybe network or get to know people, I would recommend looking at jams I would recommend going to jam sessions. And those happen, if you just type in Jam Montreal, there's a lot of them, or whatever region that you're in, there's a lot of them that happen and that are regular meetups. And that's, I think, one of the best places, or open mics, to kind of get more comfortable with your practice and meet other musicians. And also, particularly maybe for those who are in the regions, I would definitely recommend looking up your local arts council. So depending on the region that you're in, there's going to be a cultural association that kind of handles your region, and usually they have lots of opportunities. They are trying, they put a lot of effort into making sure that there is culture in the regions, and they have budgets for that. So make sure to get in touch with them no matter where you are, whether it's like Culture Montérégie, Culture Estrie, like look them up and just, meet their representatives and follow their Facebook page or whatever, and make sure that you know what's going on there. Hillary?
Yeah, I know this might not fit in this evening's in the theme of this evening's workshop, but I was kind of wondering, maybe as for visual artists and fine artists, what the protocol is maybe for I don't like to say soliciting, but like getting your work like proposing your work to galleries, I suppose. I don't know. That might be super specific, and I understand if it's not like relevant to today.
I think it's a good question. I think it's I'll give maybe a partial answer. Okay. Soliciting galleries is very tricky. A lot of galleries will simply not accept solicitation. So some of them will. So some of them will actually have like guidelines on their website as to how you can propose work to them. But a lot of them will simply say, like, we don't take, a lot of them are booked years in advance. They already have shows lined up. So it's a very tricky thing, this gallery thing. I would say a lot of it has to do with sort of courtship. So, attending their shows, knowing people who've exhibited there, seeing them at events, developing a relationship with them online through it's a little bit of a process. I also have seen people create, for example, definitely digital portfolios, but I've even seen people create physical portfolios and mail them to the galleries that they were interested in. I've seen that be work, but a lot of the times the way that people get into a gallery is like very indirect, or sometimes it's the gallery itself that solicits. So it's like they follow you online and then they really like what you're bringing and they contact you directly. So it's sort of an answer and not an answer to your question. But yeah, a lot of the times they kind of will just say they don't accept solicitation, unfortunately. Liana?
Yes, I don't know if this is maybe submission specific or it depends on the project specifically that you're applying for, but so what's like the consensus on being like cohesive with your work? Like let's say you're presenting I mean, there's a lot of people that are multidisciplinarians, but like let's say you're a visual artist, but you don't necessarily have like you have various themes that you explore, for example, where especially if it's like something more general, like is it maybe frowned upon if your work is not necessarily cohesive with like the medium that you're using, the themes you're exploring, but like the common denominator being you, the artist, right? Like what's the consensus on that?
I don't know if there is a consensus. I think it's going to, well, first of all, it's going to depend on the opportunity that you're applying to. if it's it's a very good question because the answer is not straightforward. I think that there are situations where it might be helpful to you to try to be a little bit cohesive, at least in the way that your art is presented. It can help the viewer or the person making the selection really get a sense of you. If your proposal is too varied, the person looking at it just may not be able to grasp what you're about. So there is something to be said about, and it doesn't have to be uniform, it doesn't have to be all the same, but I think that's the kind of thing that also is a good time to ask your friends, kind of like if you're putting a pitch deck together or a portfolio, just asking different people around you, like, does this look cohesive? Does this make sense to you? Because I can say from my perspective, if I'm looking at a lot of applications, for example, and let's say someone is applying and we ask for 5 pieces of support material or 5 examples of their work, and one of them is a crumpled piece of paper, another one is an oil painting, and another one is like digital art, like I don't know what to do with this person. Like I don't know who they are based on what I've seen. So I don't know if that helps answer your question.
It does. I guess it's also maybe okay, let's say we stick to like one medium. Like maybe not like the performance art thing mixed in with the music and then the visual art, but like let's say within visual arts, I don't know, acrylics, oil painting, whatever. Is it then helpful to maybe have a cohesive theme, or you can afford to like explore and maybe suggest different things? Maybe like will it show that you're able to be like diverse?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, it is really a case by case scenario. Like I think it really depends. Yeah, I think it really depends what you're applying to and what the goal is. I do think, and I don't want to go too much off topic. I think when you're creating as an artist, when you're creating and you're developing your body of work, you shouldn't worry too much about cohesion. I think you should explore. I think you're meant to explore, and I think you're meant to push your boundaries. But then if you're applying for a specific thing, then you may want to frame things a little bit more, just to help.
Yeah.
Again, help the viewer.
That was really helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, thanks, guys. Okay, there is one more thing I want to do with you before we switch completely to What the Pop. And that is, this is something I've never done before, but in What the Pop, we have, we are very lucky to have a team of people who's like going over the applications and making sure that everything is in order before we show them to the jury. So we have, we're going to have a jury of 5 professional artists, and they're going to be reviewing the applications. But before that, we have a team that's looking them over and just kind of making sure everything is in its place. What the Pop is a learning opportunity, and it's a learning market. So we do put in extra effort and to make it an educational experience, and also to give people a chance. And so we have someone who's looking it over, and if there's something missing in the application, is actually contacting applicants. This is not the norm. If you don't fill in your application completely for most things, you will just not, like you'll just get rejected. So again, in the interest of learning, I will share with you some of the things. So we have a document. Of course, I won't name any names, but my colleague has a document going with all of the incomplete applications and what's wrong with them. So I'm going to actually read to you those descriptions, and it'll give you a sense of the problems we might be encountering. The biggest problems are if something is completely missing. So one of them is like no artistic CV, work samples not working, no sample links. Yeah, missing artistic CV. This is the kind of thing like people might be thinking, oh, I don't have one. Well, this is like, make one, like even if it has nothing on it, like make one because it's a required field. I think there's a question from Julia.
Yeah, I was actually confused because I already applied.
Yes.
And read carefully that it's not your like common job CV. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start, what to put.
So that's yeah.
Horrible, but I still did it because like I tried to explain I was a teacher in arts and I didn't have any experience in like exhibitions or group exhibitions or any fairs or pop-up markets, nothing. Just like building my artistic voice at this point. So I'm like, okay, I'll just put that. I was teaching in the high school and then I was volunteer in the community. And I don't know if that's okay. Like I put my education because I do have an art, like Bachelor of Arts from Concordia, and that's it. Like I don't have a lot to say.
That's good though. I mean, that's whatever exists is what you put. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry about that part specifically. I was actually like, I have a draft of email. I wanted to email like, what is it?
I cannot actually, I'm going to share a few links with you guys. I have a few articles that I sometimes refer to. And it's like how to build an artistic CV when you don't have any experience. And I find them very helpful actually. So I'll put those in the chat in a moment. Felix.
Yeah, thank you. I am wondering to get better at doing my artistic CV, but it's because I have lots of how to say presentations and performance, but how good does it have to be to be on my? I mean, I have done some busking in the somewhere over here, and also participated in international contests. I have been semi-finalist, so I put it on my CV. But how good does it have to be to be there?
I think that's a really good question. The answer that I'll give is it depends how much is already on your CV. So if you've been a professional for 20 years, then what you're going to put in your CV is a selection. It's a selection of the things that you've done, which are the most significant and professional that you're the most proud of. And maybe you want to show a variety also. You'll want to show like selected, selected stage performances or things like that. And if for example busking is a big part of your work, you can't exactly put that as a line in a CV, but you can put like a short bio in the beginning that says, I've been busking in these different places for many years. So if something doesn't fit as completely in the context of the CV, then I would add it in a little bio at the top.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hillary?
Yeah, I guess on a similar note, like, would you say you've had like a handful of commissions? Would you list commissions or doing that kind of thing on your CV? I mean, I guess this is probably in your document. Yeah.
Yeah, I would, especially if it's relevant to your practice. Let me put some links in here that might be helpful. I'm just going to put them directly. Did you have any other questions? Okay, so I'm putting 2 links in here. How to write an artist CV when you don't have any experience, and 10 ways you can improve your blank artist resume. And I will also add, for those of you who are wondering, and some of you may be thinking, what is everyone talking about? I have no idea what an artist CV is. Then I would recommend looking at this website, which is Canada Council's guidelines for preparing an arts and culture CV. The main difference between an arts CV and a CV that you'll use to apply at Tim Hortons is that the arts CV should only contain artistic experience. It should not contain your other jobs. It should really be about, it's mostly about understanding like what you've done until now in your art practice. So yeah, I just included 3 links in the chat. I would recommend, if this is relevant to you guys, clicking on those links and saving them and looking at them later. And yeah, if you're starting out, then you just make a very basic CV and kind of to the point that, you know, Felix was making earlier. If you're starting out, you put everything, like everything that you've ever done that is even remotely connected, you put it in there. And then as you evolve, or if you get more experiences, then you start phasing out some of the, you know, more like less prestigious things. Felix, do you have a new question, or is that from before? Okay, Bronwyn, thank you for answering. That's helpful. Yeah, private collections. That's great. Okay, so are there any other questions that are not related to What the Pop about, you know, submissions in general? Okay, it's now 7:50. I'm going to suggest we take a 5-minute bio break. I'm going to fill my water bottle, and we'll be back. And if you're not here for What the Pop, then, you know, good night. Thank you for being here. If you are here for What the Pop, then stick around and we'll cover that in the next section. Okay, great. I'll be right back. Okay. So we're going to come back. I have my water. I hope you guys also got what you needed from the break. Wonderful. So I'm going to go over basically the What the Pop application guidelines. And you guys are welcome to ask questions about What the Pop, about the guidelines as we go. And I'll do my best to answer. So this will be pretty straightforward. I'm really going to go through what we have written down. Basically, just to, really assist you in understanding everything that we have. So as mentioned, the application deadline is this coming Sunday at 11:59 p.m. The event dates are as follow. So August 22nd at Cardinal Brewing in Hudson, and August 29th at Verdun. We will select which artists go to which venue. So once the selection has happened, because we're selecting 35 to 45 artists, once that selection has been made, then we're going to dispatch to the locations. So that's why we're asking people to be available, if they're applying, to be available for both dates, because we're going to have to manage the logistics for that. It is a free process. There's no fee to apply or to participate. The call is open to emerging maker artists and musicians whose work is suitable for a curated pop-up arts event. So then there's a short definition. What the Pop is a curated pop-up market and professional development program for emerging artists across Quebec. Selected participants will showcase and sell their work at a public event, receive training on presenting and selling art, benefit from promotion and event support. Approximately 35 to 45 artists will be selected by a professional jury. Events are held outside in dynamic, non-traditional venues and are designed to help artists reach new audiences and gain real-world experience. So again, just a bit of detail about the venues themselves. You can Google them. So the Cardinal Brewing in Hudson is just a really lovely brewery. It is very, I haven't pulled up images, but basically, yeah, I recommend looking them up. Lovely, lovely venue, very friendly, and the Hudson crowd is generally also very welcoming. And then the other one is in Verdun. It's a backyard of a church. It's right off of Wellington Street. So people who walk past on Wellington see the yard and they walk in and it's just, actually the picture that I have here, is that from no, that's from a different venue. Yeah, so that's kind of the setup. Who should apply? You are a good fit if you are early in your artistic career, have limited experience selling or performing publicly. So we recommend fewer than 5 events, including markets, exhibitions, or live performances. So our goal is really to reach people who have not had much opportunity yet presenting to the public. Have a cohesive body of work or performance ready to present. Want to learn best practices for organizing and participating in a pop-up event. Are interested in developing your ability to sell or present your work professionally. Are committed to participating in training and the event. If you are a collective, like a band, there is a section on collective applications. We encourage also applications from diverse backgrounds, including racialized and newcomer communities, LGBTQIA+, individuals, and persons with disabilities. Applicants are invited to highlight diversity in their submission. And of course, there's the workshop, which you are attending right now, which we originally slated for the 1st, but it's on June 2nd. Requirements. So these are necessary to participate. You must be 18 years old or older, live and work in Quebec, be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, have participated in fewer than 5 markets, exhibitions, or performances in Quebec, participate in required training sessions, be available for the full duration of the event on the assigned date, August 22nd or August 29th. Note, musicians will be scheduled to perform on August 22nd only. So only that venue can accommodate musicians. So if you are a musician and you are accepted in What the Pop, you will be scheduled for August 22nd. Accepted practices, maker artists and musicians, including things like painting, drawing, illustration, photography, prints, artist editions, publications, ceramics, sculpture, textile art, jewelry, fashion, wearable art or upcycled art, music, solo or groups. The program prioritizes artist-led work suited to a curated event. It is not intended for commercial craft products, things like candles or soaps. Submitted materials should clearly present the type of work you plan to showcase. You don't need to submit the exact pieces you intend to present, but your submission must accurately reflect your overall practice and intended presentation. So you need to give us a taste of what you're planning to show. Let me just see. I'll just finish this section and then I'll pause for questions, but just know that there's more coming up, okay? We do have a suggestion in terms of the work that you're going to present. Artists are encouraged, maker artists are encouraged to offer work primarily within the $1 to $75 range, with maybe a few higher priced exceptions. The reason for this is that it just helps align with audience expectation and improves your potential for sales. I don't know what costs $1 anymore. I don't think anything costs $1. So maybe we should update that. But yeah, basically this is not to, this is really just to help you have a successful market. It's for no other reason. Musicians must submit a live performance video, preferred over audio links where possible. Indicate whether the work is original, covers, or both. Additional notes, all selected musicians will perform on August 22nd at Hudson. Performance times will be scheduled in advance and shared with selected musicians. Merchandise sales are optional. Content must be appropriate for a public, family-friendly event, including lyrics and volume. What selected participants receive? All selected artists receive the following. Event support, so the venue equipment, technical setup, and permits. An event team will coordinate logistics and provide on-site support before, during, and after. There will be mandatory trainings. There'll be 2 to 3 online workshops covering the basics of preparing a pop-up and presenting your work, such as displaying and selling work, networking and audience engagement, preparing strong applications, incorporating equity, diversity, and inclusion practices, and all the workshops will be held in English. There will be marketing done for the event across across public and private networks. Promotional materials will be provided and guidance on how to engage with your networks and promote your participation. There will also be a resource document that will be shared with participating artists with practical information related to workshop topics and trainings. We will have some accessibility accommodations. We will aim to make the program accessible. If you need accommodations, please include a note in your application. And off-island participants based outside Montreal may be eligible for a transportation bursary, subject to available funding. So please list any anticipated travel costs in your application. Please note that YETS will not cover costs of art materials, local transportation, or insurance. Yes, we'll provide a table and 2 chairs to each participating artist. We will not provide tents or wall space for the participants. Selected participants are expected to take part in the required online workshops, be on site for setup, sound check, and takedown, stay for the full duration of your assigned event. As mentioned, participants will be assigned to one of the following events. So either August 22nd at Cardinal Brewing in Hudson, and August 29th at Church of the Epiphany in Verdun. Both are outdoor locations. Steps to apply. So read the submission guidelines. That's what we're doing right now. Complete the Google form and upload the required listed materials. So that includes your form, your artistic CV. If you're a maker, 5 to 10 samples in one PDF. If you're a musician, 3 to 5 performance links, including at least one live video. Maker artists, your work samples should be submitted as one single PDF, but it can be several pages long. Note, applications missing required materials will not be considered. Well, I've already kind of told you that we are not quite observing that rule. We are contacting people with incomplete applications. If selected, you will be asked to sign and return a waiver to confirm your participation. Applications may, so basically it's only after you've signed your waiver that you are officially in the program. So if someone fails to sign the waiver, then we will replace them with someone else. Okay? Applications may be submitted in English or French. Collective applications need to apply through one single application, so don't do multiple applications for a group. You can do it all under the group's name. Key dates, calls for submissions are open. The pre-submissions workshop application deadline is on the 7th. Jury review is June 15th to July 6th. And applicants are notified on by July 13th. So all applicants will receive a response by July 13th, whether or not they are selected. The criteria. So this is maybe the part that you might be most interested in. Approximately 35 to 45 artists will be selected across Quebec to exhibit. Applications are assessed based on strength and coherence of the submission materials and artistic vision. Your artist brand should be represented in the work or products included for submission. So that's really your support materials and your description. Then the perceived impact on the artist's career. Jury members should be able to perceive that What the Pop will be a beneficial experience for you and your artistic career. And finally, fit and readiness for the What the Pop format and audience. So we're going to try to find, we're taking into account the fit. So if, for example, you're doing something that's amazing, but that is doesn't quite correspond to the setting or the opportunity, that's not going to score as high in the fit category. Jury decisions are final, and your personal information will be kept confidential. So, are there any questions on anything that I've covered or anything that I've not covered so far in regards to What the Pop?
Yes, I have a question actually.
Yes, go ahead.
So now that I've heard a family-friendly contest, I'm a little bit anxious because my artwork is focused on femininity, and there's a little female body in my work. Is it acceptable? Is it into the theme?
I would say yes. I haven't seen your artwork, so I can't say.
I mean, there's no answer, like.
I would say definitely. If you're concerned, maybe send us an email. There's an email address there with some examples of your work. But I would say normally we've been able to show things that featured the body in different ways and different forms. So I'm not too worried about that. But again, you know, it's gonna be dependent on the jury's evaluation. But it's not. There's no like rule against it.
Okay, because as a
Mhm.
multidisciplinary artist, like I have
Mhm.
different themes, and then let's say that is not acceptable. Like, can I resubmit my artwork, let's say, and put landscapes or florals instead of that?
I would recommend send an email with the artwork that you're worried about. Send it to the there's an email address. Let's see,
Sandra?
artscoordinator@yesmontreal.ca. Just send, explain your question and attach the artwork, and we'll look at it and we'll let you know if there's any concern.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, thank you.
you're welcome. Felix?
Yes, I was wondering how to reach reach out to the jury, as you said, but I think is this the mail to reach out the jury?
So not to the jury, but to our staff, like to
Okay.
the organizers.
Yeah. So how about how we get in? Do we get in touch with the jury to have to build up a relationship,
No,
as you said?
no, the jury
Okay.
is anonymous.
Okay.
Yeah, but you
Thank
can
you.
connect with us. We're the organizers, and we
yes.
have, we're going to have an independent jury of 5 people that are not in our organization.
Okay. All right. I get it. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. So any issues or any questions you bring to us. Anything else?
Let me think.
You're welcome. Maybe, so you can keep thinking if you have any questions, but I am just going to go back to, remember I was looking at that document earlier that had some of the problems in it. I'll just tell you maybe about some of the other things that were listed that were problematic in some of the applications, incomplete applications. So I'll just read the notes to you. So this is one note, doesn't explain how it represents their current, so this was in description, describe your artwork, doesn't explain how it represents their current artistic practice, no representative sample of the work to be exhibited, missing their plan to display and present their work, no pricing included. We have a question about pricing. Missing dimensions, no explanation of their situation, missing dimensions of work sample, missing what they'll present, no display plan for the event, how it represents your current artistic practice, doesn't talk about what they're going to present at What the Pop, doesn't talk about what they will present at What the Pop. So that's a recurring one, because really we do ask that question specifically, like, what do you plan on presenting? And it doesn't have to be like 100% description of every single thing you're presenting, but it's really just giving us an idea, like an overall description. Anything else? Okay. Leanna.
Sorry, I'll make it quick. How about, like, let's say we're working on something and it's unfinished, but like what do you guys think about that? Or maybe if we have less material that we're satisfied with to present, but then we have like, ideas for, because August is in a long time, so
Yeah, well, here's the thing is, like, we ask for 5, if you're a maker, like we ask for I think 5 samples. So do you have 5 things that you can show?
yes, it's just
Yeah.
like, because it said 5 to 10, so I didn't know if it
Right.
was more on the higher end or if it was on the lower end, but
No, anything in that range.
okay, good. So
Yeah.
if it's 5, it's not going to be like, oh, it's just 5. Okay, sure.
Yeah, no, but it's just if you are, it's very normal, especially if it's your first pop-up, which happens a lot with What the Pop, right? It's very normal that people will produce for the event, or that they'll make reproductions or
Cool.
prints for the event, right? So
Okay.
because for a lot of people it's their first pop-up, right? So they've never maybe done,
They haven't been prolific enough to.
if is for you, that's like completely normal. You can just say what your plan is, right? Like what you would like to be presenting.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Anything else?
Caroline, we have a question in the
Yes,
chat.
I see.
Wait,
Do
Cass.
you accept fan art, or is the focus on original art? This is a very good question, because this is actually something that we have discussed in the past. Fan art is, okay, I'm going to say, in general, we prioritize original content. Fan art is a little bit of a gray area when it comes to like copyright and intellectual property. It's a little bit of a gray area. We don't have necessarily a policy to outright reject fan art, but it's maybe not going to be the main focus, right? So if that's what you do, you're not going to be eliminated. You'll be looked at by the jury, but it may not. Their choice may be affected. You could present a mix of both. Yeah, I guess I'll try. The best way that I can explain it is the priority will generally be given to original art. I hope that helps, but it's not forbidden. Anything else? Sherry?
So like I said earlier, I make keychains, and I'm just wondering, would I be responsible for, because I know I get a table, so in terms of like display, would I need to provide my own, say, like a jewelry organizer, for example, to display things? Or, because like I said, I've done one of these things before, and literally I just had stuff set up on a table.
Yeah.
So it's
Basically,
a matter of,
basically
I don't know what the best
you,
way to display is.
Yeah, basically what you do is a table. What we give you is a table and 2 chairs, and I
Right.
think a parasol. That's it.
Okay.
So so to create your display is on you.
Okay.
And you can be creative with it. You don't have to spend a ton of money on like jewelry organizers or things like that. Sometimes people use boxes or make things, right, to put their display on. But definitely we encourage creating a display, because that's going to help you have a better pop-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yudmila, if I don't want to sell my work during the event, is that okay? I'd like to participate mainly for the experience and promotion. So if you don't want to sell work, this may not be the best fit for you. Because this is really like it's a market style pop-up. So it's really, the goal is to help people learn how to present their work to the public, at least if you're a maker artist, because we make a distinction between makers and performers. If you're a maker, the goal is really to help you learn how to present your work in a way that's that you can sell it, right? So that's kind of the goal of the experience. If you're looking for more of a setting for displaying artwork that's not for sale, I would recommend you look at other opportunities, things like Artists in Montreal or Montreal Arts Center, or there's a lot of other places where you can display artwork in an exhibition style. But this particular opportunity is not so much an exhibition, it's really more of a market style event. So I hope that helps. You're welcome. Anything else? Oh, Hillary, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, if I applied to show art and sell jewelry and, you know, I mean, is it like a feasible proposal, or is it better to kind of pick one thing?
You can have multiple disciplines. Yeah. Yeah. I would say if that's what you want to do, just make sure that your description and your support material communicate that. Mhm. Yeah. These are great questions, by the way, so don't be shy if you have any. Yeah, thank you, Azzy, for posting that. Also, yeah, artists in Montreal. If you're able to find that one. Bronwyn.
Thanks. I just wanted to add, I know in the beginning we talked about forms of payment, that I was really apprehensive, you know, do I have to buy this like Square card and all this stuff? I ended up starting last year, even though I was very nervous about it, I'm using something called Stripe. And you don't have to buy anything. You just like
It's on
sign
the
up, it's on your phone, and then they take a little percentage. So it's like it doesn't cost you stuff to try it. And it has been really, really useful. And the other thing is that the displays for, you know, setting up like jewelry, I can't remember who mentioned that, is the training that you get with Yes, they'll show you some really like simple, very creative ways that you can make your table look awesome for nothing. And it won't be like you're the outcast of everybody. Everybody's doing creative things, even if it's putting boxes underneath a tablecloth. And now you've got levels, styrofoam, core, plastic, all these different kind of things. So I would say don't worry about that now, that you'll get support with that later on as part of the next training.
Thank you so much. Those are really good insights. Thanks for sharing that. Hillary?
I guess on the subject of payment, how does Yes feel about Interac e-transfers as a form of payment?
It's not, I mean, we don't have any rule against it. I would say that it's just maybe less convenient for the buyer. I would say it's of course it can be done, but it might put up a little bit of a wall to someone who wants something really simple. But again, you can do that. But
I like the Stripe suggestion though.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
I find most people end up going for a solution like this one, and they feel a little bit happier with that. Bronwyn?
I made a little sign that says, I prefer cash, but I also accept duck, duck, duck. So just because I have Stripe, I don't really want to use Stripe, right? Because I'm paying, I don't know, whatever, 3%, I don't know. So I prefer Interac, and my top is like cash because it's fast, but not a lot of people have cash. So if you mention that all those things are acceptable, if you have a lot of people, well, then obviously Interac, it's just not the moment. But some people just don't know that, yeah, it's still okay to use cash.
Yeah, that's great. I totally agree.
Thank you so much, because I genuinely was like, I do cash because cash is easy enough for me to do. And I did one other event, and I think I had like 2 people ask if I did e-transfer. And I don't, because I never have, because I never had a need to. And so I wasn't quite sure how to navigate that. But that works. That helps.
Yeah. I would say like if you continue to do markets in the future, you definitely don't want to you want to minimize the barriers
Right.
for your audience
Right.
as much as possible. But yeah, I mean whatever works, honestly.
But like cash is still an acceptable.
Cash is still an acceptable form. I know that I never carry cash, so that would be a
Right.
barrier for me.
Right.
But yeah. But sometimes people like it also depends on who's, because the thing is we also have like there are people who sometimes are planning to go to a market and they have cash for that reason, but at an event like What the Pop, there might also just be foot traffic, right? Just people who are passing through who weren't planning to go shopping that day. So they're not necessarily coming with the intention to buy, and they may or may not be carrying cash.
Makes sense. I guess I'll have to figure out. I mean, obviously, it's a moot point until and unless I am selected, right? Like,
it's kind of like it's like one form of payment is good, two is better.
Two is better. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think that wraps it up. Thank you. You've been really a pleasure to spend the evening with. And good luck.
And you've been very helpful and informative, so thank you.
You're very welcome.
Caroline, thank you so much for your professionalism and your explanations. It was truly awesome and so nice to meet everybody. Thank you so much.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everyone. And I hope to see you guys all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck,
Thank
everyone.
you so much. Good luck. Bye-bye now.
Bonsoir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, let me stop share. I think reverse it. Okay, stop recording. Stop recording.